Rise of the Ottoman Empire. From a tribal state to a world power. The rise of the Ottoman Empire is one of the most extraordinary stories in world history. What began as a small frontier principality on the edge of the collapsing Byzantine Empire eventually transformed into one of the most powerful and enduring empires the world has ever known. For more than 6 centuries, the Ottomans shaped the political, military, religious, and cultural landscape of Europe, the Middle East, and North Africa. The origins of the Ottoman Empire lie in chaos. By the late 13th century, Anatolia was a fragmented land. The once powerful Seljuk Sultanate of Rum had collapsed under pressure from Mongol invasions, leaving behind a patchwork of small Turkish principalities known as beyliks. These beyliks constantly fought one another while also raiding Byzantine borderlands. In this unstable frontier environment, opportunity favored the bold. Among these small states was a modest beylik led by a chieftain named Osman ibn Ertugrul. His territory lay along the Byzantine frontier in northwestern Anatolia, an ideal location for expansion through warfare, raids, and conquest. Osman was not powerful, wealthy, or well-known at first, but he possessed something more important: strategic vision. Osman understood the frontier culture of Anatolia, where warriors known as Ghazis fought not only for land but for religious legitimacy. By presenting himself as a champion of Islam against Christian Byzantium, Osman attracted fighters, settlers, and religious leaders to his cause. Around 1299, Osman declared independence from Seljuk authority. This moment is traditionally considered the birth of the Ottoman state. From the beginning, the Ottomans expanded through a combination of military action, diplomacy, and integration. Rather than destroying conquered populations, they often incorporated them into their system. Christians, Muslims, and Jews lived under Ottoman rule, paying taxes in exchange for protection and relative autonomy. This pragmatic approach gave the Ottomans a crucial advantage. Osman's son, Orhan, transformed the small frontier beylik into a true state. Under Orhan's leadership, the Ottomans captured the city of Bursa in 1326, making it their first major capital. Bursa became a center of administration, trade, and culture. Orhan introduced critical reforms that laid the foundations of empire. He created a standing army, introduced a structured bureaucracy, and began minting Ottoman coin symbols of sovereignty and permanence. One of the most important innovations of the early Ottoman period was the development of a unique military system. Unlike feudal armies of Europe, the Ottomans built a centralized, state-controlled force. Over time, this would evolve into the Janissary, Corps elite infantry soldiers, recruited through the Devshirme system, where Christian boys were taken, converted to Islam, and trained as loyal servants of the Sultan. This system created soldiers whose loyalty was not to noble families, but to the state itself. In the mid-14th century, the Ottomans crossed into Europe. Under Sultan Murad I, Ottoman forces captured Gallipoli, establishing a permanent foothold in the Balkans. From there, expansion accelerated. One by one, Balkan states fell under Ottoman control. The Battle of Kosovo in 1389 marked a turning point. Though Sultan Murad was killed, the Ottomans emerged victorious, breaking Serbian power and asserting dominance over southeastern Europe. Murad's successor, Bayezid I, known as the Thunderbolt, expanded aggressively. He defeated Crusader forces at the Battle of Nicopolis in 1396, shocking Europe and proving that the Ottomans were no longer a regional threat but a continental power. By the end of the 14th century, the Ottomans surrounded Constantinople, the ancient capital of the Byzantine Empire. But disaster struck. In 1402, Bayezid faced the Central Asian conqueror Timur at the Battle of Ankara. The Ottomans were decisively defeated and Bayezid was captured. The empire plunged into chaos as Bayezid's sons fought a civil war, known as the Ottoman Interregnum. For a moment, it seemed the Ottoman state might collapse. Instead, it survived. By 1413, Mehmed I emerged victorious and restored unity. His reign stabilized the empire and rebuilt its institutions. His son, Murad II, continued expansion in the Balkans, defeating Hungarian and Crusader forces at the Battle of Varna in 1444. The Ottomans were back and stronger than before. Then came the moment that defined Ottoman destiny. In 1453, Sultan Mehmed II, later known as Mehmed the Conqueror, laid siege to Constantinople. The city had stood for over 1,000 years, protected by massive walls and history itself. Mehmed brought something new, using massive cannons, including the legendary bombard capable of shattering ancient stone walls. The Ottomans breached Constantinople's defenses. After weeks of siege, the city fell on May 29, 1453. The fall of Constantinople shocked the world. For Europe, it marked the end of the Byzantine Empire and symbolized the close of the medieval era. For the Ottomans, it was the moment they became an empire in every sense of the word. Constantinople was renamed Istanbul and became the Ottoman capital. Mehmed II transformed the city into a cosmopolitan imperial center. Churches became mosques, but Christian and Jewish communities were protected. Scholars, artisans, and merchants were encouraged to settle, restoring the city's population and prosperity. The Ottoman Empire now stood at the crossroads of continents. In the following decades, Ottoman expansion continued relentlessly. The empire conquered Greece, Serbia, Bosnia, Albania, and much of the Black Sea coast. In Anatolia, rival Turkish states were absorbed or destroyed. Under Selim I, the Ottomans turned south and east. In swift and brutal campaigns, Selim defeated the Safavid Empire of Persia and crushed the Mamluk Sultanate. Egypt, Syria, Mecca, and Medina fell under Ottoman control. With these conquests, the Ottoman Sultan also claimed the title of Caliph, becoming the political and religious leader of much of the Islamic world. The empire was now truly global. The Ottomans controlled major trade routes between Europe and Asia, vast agricultural lands, and key ports of the Mediterranean. Their navy challenged European powers at sea, while their armies dominated land warfare. The rise of the Ottoman Empire was not only a story of conquest, but of administration. Ottoman governance was highly sophisticated. Provinces were administered by governors, taxes were standardized, and laws blended Islamic principles with imperial decrees. This system allowed diverse populations to coexist under a single political structure. By the early 16th century, the Ottoman Empire had become one of the most powerful states on earth. Its rise reshaped world history. It ended Byzantium, halted crusades, redirected European trade, influenced the Renaissance, and defined Middle Eastern politics for centuries. From a frontier tribe to an imperial superpower, the Ottomans demonstrated how adaptability, military innovation, and pragmatic governance could build an empire that lasted over 600 years. The rise of the Ottoman Empire was not inevitable. It was earned through vision, resilience, and relentless ambition. And its legacy still shapes the modern world.